Good morning, students. Welcome to the class. In previous class, we have started Geography Chapter 3, Minerals and Power Resources. In the very first part, you learn about the minerals. This Kiri and Sukan's story. They were talking about some minerals at their places, and then you learn the meaning of minerals and you learn about types of minerals. Okay, so today we will learn extraction of mineral. Before this, let us understand do you know what is written? That thing you have already learned in last year in Form 7. A rock is an aggregate of one or more minerals but without definite composition of constituent of minerals. Means here they are telling that what is a rock? Rock is an aggregate of one or more minerals. Means suppose if you are taking a piece of rock, then it is not necessary that only one mineral will be there. It can be in majority, it can be in minority, it can be a composition of several minerals. Rock from which minerals are mined are known as ores. Although more than 2800 types of minerals have been identified. In last videos also around 3000 minerals are available on earth. Only about 100 are considered ore minerals and others are byproduct. Okay, so now let us understand as you all know that raw minerals are found in rocks. So how these minerals are extract from that rocks or extract from the earth. So that method is known as extraction of minerals. Minerals can be extracted by mining, drilling, quarrying. There are three methods. Depends on the types of mineral. Which type of mineral is there? They are using different method. Mainly there are three methods. Mining, drilling, quarrying. Mining again can be divided. You can see in this table open cast mining and shaft mining. Right. So there are little difference in amongst all these methods. So let us understand what is exactly the meaning of each method. The process of taking out minerals from rocks buried under the earth's surface is called mining. Right? It is most common method for the taking out the minerals from the earth that from earth's surface. This process is known as mining. Means the rocks which are buried under the earth's surface. So they are digging out by this method. This method is called mining. Minerals that lies at shallow depth are taken out by removing the surface layer, right? And in some mining process they need to dig deeply, or some they can easily shallow mining also done. So minerals that lies at a shallow depth at the first or second layer of the earth are taken out by removing that first layer. This is known as the open cast mining. Deep bores are called shaft. When it is not easily available at the first or second layer, then they will dig deep inside. That is called shaft. Shaft have to be made to reach mineral deposit that lies at a great depth. This is called shaft mining. So hope this is clear. Open cast means shallow depth. Minerals lie at shallow depth can be easily taken out by the just scraping out. And the shaft mining means the minerals which deposited at great depth have to be drilled and taken out. So that is called shaft mining. Now, next, drilling. Petroleum and natural gas occurs far below the earth's surface. Deep wells are bored because this is in a liquid form. So they will make deep bores and to take them out. This is called drilling method. Minerals that lie near the surface are simply dug out by the process known as quarrying. Quarrying means they are just scraping out the layer. So which mean the minerals which are lying near the surface. It is mostly like this open cast mining, but depends on the types of mineral they are using open cast mining, or some they are using quarrying. Here you can see one example. Offshore drilling of oil. Most of the coastal areas or offshore areas, they are having oil minerals inside the deep inside the earth. So they are drilling. Through drilling they are taking out the crude oil. Here you can see in this picture they are showing how it is done. It is a deep drilling machine is there. You can see it. Right. So extraction of minerals can be done any of this method. There are three methods. Depend on the availability, depend on the rock, depend on the earth surface and type of minerals. Which mineral will be extract by which method it will be decided. So these are the method. Hope it is clear. Now very important topic, the distribution of minerals. From last lecture I am telling you, last class I am telling you that minerals are found in rocks, right? And in last year also you learned that there are three different types of rocks: igneous rock, metamorphic rocks and sedimentary rocks. Now the question is that which type of minerals will be found in which type of rock, right? So last class I told you that minerals are having definite chemical composition, right? And rocks are also having. So depends on the quality of rock that mineral will be found from that particular rock. Minerals occur in different types of rocks. Some are found in igneous rocks, some in metamorphic rocks, while others occur in sedimentary rocks. Generally, metallic mineral, now this is very important, underline this. Generally, metallic minerals are found in igneous and metamorphic rocks. Means the minerals which contain part of metals, whether it is a ferrous or non-ferrous, they mostly found in igneous and metamorphic rock formation that form large plateaus. Iron ore in the North Sweden, copper and nickel deposit in Ontario, Canada, iron, nickel, chromites and platinum in South Africa are example of minerals found in igneous and metamorphic rocks. So all these minerals that they have given example, they contain metal either in a iron form or either non-iron form. So they are found in igneous or metamorphic rock. So understand, this is clear. Metallic minerals mostly found in igneous or metamorphic rock. Sedimentary rock formation of plains and young fold mountains contain non-metallic minerals like limestone. Right. So sedimentary rocks, you know that it is the layers of the how sedimentary rocks are formed, layers on layers on layers, and then it deposited. So and young folded mounds that contain non-metallic, without metal, not any kind of iron or non-iron metals are found. Example, limestone. Limestone deposit of Caucasus region of France, manganese deposit of Georgia, and eukarine and phosphate beds of Algeria are some examples. Mineral fuels such as coal and petroleum are also found in sedimentary strata. Sedimentary strata means where the sedimentary rocks are found. You can find petroleum, coal, this type of minerals, fossil fuels are also found in sedimentary rocks. Okay, understand? So overall all these minerals are found in rocks, but metallic minerals are found in mostly in igneous and metamorphic rock, and non-metallic minerals like limestone, coal, petroleum are found in sedimentary rock. Now here they have given area wise distribution of minerals. Like in Asia, which type of minerals are found? Europe, North America, continent wise we can say, South Africa, Africa, Australia, Antarctica. So as a deletion of some topic, we are doing this from map expert, means atlas. So we are not deeply doing this part from this textbook. That when we will do atlas, at that time we will find out the places of minerals in that world map. So we are just keeping here, we are not doing. Now let us come to the uses of minerals. Right, yesterday only in class I told you that from morning till the night we are using thousands of minerals in our daily life. We cannot imagine our life without minerals. Minerals are used in many industries also. Minerals which are used for gems are usually very hard. These are then set in various styles of jewelry. Copper is another metal used in everything from coins to pipes. Silicon used in computer industries is obtained from quartz. Aluminium obtained from its ore. Bauxite is used in automobiles and airplanes, bottling industries, buildings, and even in kitchen cookware. Right? So now you can imagine of anything and you can tell me which minerals are there. Suppose if you are using in morning you are using toothpaste. In toothpaste also you can find varieties of minerals, not a single or one or two, but there are so many minerals. What you are using tongue cleaner, it is also made up of some metal, right? So whatever the utensils, plates you are using, for bathing buckets you are using, all the things are made up of directly or indirectly with minerals. We cannot imagine any of the thing without minerals. Suppose clothes. So clothes are stitched through machines. Machines are made up from minerals. Right? So you can give example of anything and I can tell you that this thing can be directly or indirectly made from minerals only. We cannot imagine anything without use of mineral. So minerals are really a basic thing, basic requirement of our life. Now here you can see this picture. In very first chapter also you learn the uses of these 3R: reuse, reduce, recycle. So mineral is also a part of resource, so we need to conserve. Conservation of minerals. Minerals are a non-renewable resource. It takes thousands of the years for the formation and concentration of minerals. The rate of formation is much smaller because it takes long years. So it cannot be easily, how we are using minerals, it cannot be easily formed. The rate of formation is much smaller than the rate at which the human consume these minerals. It is necessary to reduce wastage in the process of mining, because when mining is happening at that time also so much of the mineral part is wastage, right? So that also need to be checked. Recycling of metal is another way in which the mineral resource can be conserved, right? So in our daily life also we need to learn how we can save these very precious minerals. In which way we can reuse them, we can reduce the use where necessary, most necessary at that time only we use, and after using it we can send them in recycling. Then only we can sustain, we can continue till the sustainable development, we can conserve this most important resource. So these were the topics of that mineral chapter: meaning of mineral, types of mineral, extraction method, distribution of minerals, uses of minerals, and conservation of minerals. There are 6 topics. Same topic you will learn about the power resources also, and they have given how this power resources, powers derive from these different resources, that also you will learn. So that we will continue in next lesson. So hope this mineral part is clear to you, meaning and all these things. Still if you are having any doubt, please continue watching the YouTube videos, and if you are having doubt you can ask in live class also. Okay student? We'll meet again in next class. Till that time, keep learning. Goodbye, students.
Have you ever asked yourself how you interact with mineral resources in everyday life? They are everywhere, as soon as you wake up, at breakfast, on the way to school, in the classroom, on your lunch break, in the computer room, in the street, when you're having fun, at dinner time, in the bathroom, and when you go to bed. Mineral resources are precious and essential to daily life. Mineral resources are used in all sectors of activity, valuable for their incredibly diverse physical and chemical properties, such as, for example, solidity, conductivity, color. This is why the objects we use daily are packed with a range of different mineral resources. Do you know, for example, how many different minerals are contained in an alarm clock, a bicycle, or a digital tablet? A can, a car, a tube of toothpaste. Mineral resources are necessary to create objects we use every day. Among the main mineral resources used, we can mention minerals containing copper, as this metal has excellent conductive properties. Minerals containing cobalt, as this improves power storage in electric vehicle batteries. Minerals containing tungsten, as it is highly resistant. Rare earth elements, as they contribute to energy transition. And sand, which is the third most consumed substance by mankind. Now let's turn to the questions and answers.
Where do mineral resources come from?
Mineral resources come from underground, extracted from mines and quarries by humans. The geologist is specialized in the study of underground matter. Mineral resources are extracted from quarries, particularly for sand, gravel, rocks, or from mines to extract gold, copper, or iron, for example. The two types of mining operations are open pit surface mining, carving out exposed large-scale pits, and underground mining by drilling tunnels to access deposits. Both open pit and underground mining can reach on average a few hundred meters below ground, while quarries on average only reach tens of meters in depth. The location of mines and quarries is not random, as it is by studying the nature of the underground and its deposits that we determine the best approach. In other words, geology.
How are mineral resources created?
Mountains, basins, and oceans are created by the movement of tectonic plates. For example, when two tectonic plates collide, this can form a mountain range, and when certain specific conditions are met in terms of pressure and temperature, this can form mineral deposits. The dynamic nature of Earth's geological movements creates deposits.
And what are mineral resources used for?
Mineral resources are in just about everything, even where you least expect them. For example, they can be found in medication, constructions, particularly in walls, glassware, tiles, garden furniture, vehicles, pastel crayons, even paper.
But are mineral resources really indispensable?
Yes, these are indispensable at the moment. We have not yet found any alternatives to these resources, as they provide a diversity of functions that is hard to match. For this reason, they must be used responsibly and within reason. Mineral resources available today took tens to hundreds of millions of years to form. To put things in perspective, consider that the quantity of minerals man has extracted in the past century is equivalent to the quantity extracted since man first appeared on Earth a few tens of thousands of years ago. A staggering amount. The central issue, aside that of available resources, is access to deposits in the future, which are increasingly deep underground and complicated to extract, always requiring more advanced and expensive technology. We need to design our products to be more sustainable and recycle already extracted materials to preserve our mineral resources.
The Earth's crust is rock, and rocks are made of minerals. And you'll find that there are 8 primary or 8 very abundant elements that make up the constituent or the majority of all of the rocks on Earth. So we'll explore further. So a mineral has characteristics. It must have these 5 characteristics. In order for it to be a mineral, it must be naturally occurring, inorganic, a solid, have an orderly crystalline structure, and have a well-defined chemical composition, and it can vary within some specific limits. But these are some minerals that we will get to know in our class. And we've got different colors, different characteristics, different ways, different compositions, different ways in which the atoms come together, that all of them lead to different properties. So we'll explore this a little bit further. So before we talk about the minerals, let's make sure we define what it is we're looking at. We're looking at the rocks of the Earth's crust. The Earth's crust has 2 primary types of rocks within its solid surface. When we talk about the crust itself, we'll talk about continental crust, which we'll call granite, and oceanic crust, what we'll call basalt. So the thinnest layer of the Earth is by far the crust. There are 2 types of crust. Continental crust, that this is what the continents are built upon, and it's called granite. And there's oceanic crust. The oceans are found above this rock, and this is called basalt. So the crust is simply the thinnest layer, and when we start talking about where we get our resources from, we're really talking about generally continental crust. Inside the Earth is hot, so hot that rock is a liquid, and this is called magma. So let's take a trip into the Earth, literally inside the Earth itself. Temperatures and pressures increase as one travels inward towards the center of the Earth, or the core. So heat is in motion via convection cells. Convection transfers hot material upward and cooler material downward. When hot material reaches new conditions and new temperatures that are below the melting point of the minerals, the liquid rock crystallizes or solidifies. This is one of the most common ways in which minerals form on Earth. So how minerals form? Well, the process by which atoms are arranged to form a mineral or any material with a repeated crystal structure. So minerals can form as hot magma cools deep inside the Earth's crust, or as lava hardens on the Earth's surface, right? Some like say from a volcano. When these liquids cool to a solid state, they form mineral crystals. So minerals form under a variety of conditions, from deep inside the Earth to on the crust surface. So two ways in which minerals form: the crystallization of a magma. Here you can see that rocks that form on the surface are going to be similar but yet slightly different than the rocks that form deep within the Earth itself. A second way in which minerals form is through the crystallization of materials that are dissolved in water. So let's think ocean water for a second. It's got a lot of salt in it. Salt is NaCl. So you get these ions that are kind of free floating in the water that are equally distributed within the water. So I don't know if you can see it or not, but those are H2O, so water. So once we remove the water, the NaCl then recombines and crystallizes into what we know as salt. So the size of a mineral crystal is determined by where and how long it took to solidify. So minerals that crystallize at or above the Earth's surface solidify relatively quickly. So they become fine or small crystals intergrown into one another. But minerals that form at depth or below the Earth's surface take longer. There's a greater time to solidify or crystallize. These crystals are considered coarse or large due to considerably longer crystallization time. So let's go back and look at the salt water here. Salt crystallizing out of salt water. So imagine a beaker of salt water that is left out for a period of time. The salt, the NaCl, is dissolved in the water, creating a solution. As the water evaporates, only H2O escapes, right? It's only the water vapor that's evaporating, or the liquid water that's evaporating. The salt is left behind. As the precipitate forms, the Na and the Cl restructure themselves in a pattern called a cube, and we can see a picture here. The Na and Cl always combine to form this cubic pattern.